Welcome to Cyclops is Waiting for Me, an X-Men animated recap podcast with the Marvel Anime X-Men Episode 8, Lost. I'm Rod, and I didn't think of something clever to say here. I used to say this a lot.
You bought the video game. You bought the video game.
I bought the video game. Yeah, we'll get into that. By the time you hear this, though, a bunch of music that I've done music for YouTube for a long time, since 2019. The special thing this time is there are songs with vocals, like songs you would hear like on Billboard and the radio and stuff. It's been top secret since last July. It's been killing me because it's been like the dream gig. But now, as of when this posts, it'll probably be a week or two that the songs have been out, or the beginning of this. We did a lot of songs. By the time you hear this, like maybe 4 of them are out or whatever. But like keep posted on there, and they're free for anyone on YouTube to use for whatever they want. We had a really highly skilled team like work on everything, so I'm excited for everybody to hear those stuff, especially because what I was really fighting for, when I say fighting, they were sold from the beginning, so I didn't really have to fight, but I really wanted to do 2010s like millennial recession pop, and they were like, go for it, dude. Nice. And so then I wrote a song and I played all the instruments, but I knew that I couldn't pull off like a powerhouse female vocal, so we found
all due respect to you, that is not your MO.
I shouldn't even sing these because I found a really talented singer, mostly Moss, and she killed it. You'll hear it by the time this is out, or you should go look for it. It'll also be on all streaming services, so you can like look at that. But we had heavy metal music, we had country music, R&B, so it's been a real like cool project, and we've been done since last fall, but we've just been waiting for the release, and so it's finally here. When we're recording this, it's not out yet, but presuming I don't like publish this ahead of time, then it's still a secret. So
yeah, we should talk about that after the episode to make sure we're on the right page with each other for publishing.
No, it'll be like it's literally like in a couple days from when we're recording this. So the other thing, I got the X-Men or the Marvel Maximum collection, right? That's what it's called.
Yes. Yep.
For Switch, and
hopefully by the time this episode has gone live, I will have live streamed it and posted the VOD to the YouTube channel. Hopefully, I say hopefully because as you guys know, I had been sick and that screwed up our recording schedule. But yeah, so I've literally bought it and downloaded it and done nothing with it. But you've gone through and actually played some of the collection, right?
I've beat it like 3 or 4 times now, because like anybody that's played the game knows like once the quarters aren't a part of it, like it's a pretty like not easy, but it's like it's a one sitting game, like and I don't know, at least in my opinion, it's what any like 80s 90s kid could have dreamed of for interpretation, because like I missed the Xbox Live era, so I don't know how that version was. This one,
I heard it was pretty solid.
So this one though has an interesting thing where when you, because and it has a bunch of other games, and we don't not even get started on that, but like the main game, the X-Men arcade game, so it has this thing where you can choose the 2-player, 4-player, or 6-player thing. What I think was really clever that I didn't even think about is like, you remember the old arcade machines, depending on like, so I grew up in a small town. That arcade had the regular 4x3 CRT screen, and you could only play, I think, 4 players at a time. And but then when we went to Indianapolis, that was like the big city, they had the double wide that had like the mirror and then the CRT up in the top and the CRT in the bottom that reflected up in the mirror. And they had the 6 players. And that's like the holy grail. I think a lot of people who collect those now, they want the 6-player one with the double wide screen.
Yeah, that's the one that they have at Barcade 84 in downtown LA in the Arts District. Yeah.
So in I have the Switch version. I think you said you have the Steam version, which
I did the PC version. Yeah.
If they're crossplay compatible online, that would be cool. I might join you if I'm around for the stream. But like when you pick 2 or 4-player, it's the regular 4x3 aspect ratio. But when you do the 6-player, it does a widescreen format, like on the TV, which is kind of crazy to see for a retro game.
Rod, it does support crossplay.
Oh, nice. Well, okay, as long as I'm not in something crazy, which is 50-50 these days.
Yeah, that could go either way.
I'd be more than... I'd love to join, because, like, I will say, I know I'm biased because everybody knows like Storm's my favorite character. I of course, the very first thing I did was load up Storm, played through the game with that. But then I went through and I played with like the other characters, like Colossus is fun to like do the the rage out thing.
Yeah.
And I remember I used to like the design of Dazzler because I thought it was cool. She'd throw like a light bomb or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I will say like, and maybe it's just my nostalgia biasing me, but like, it's the most fun with Storm because there's something visceral. She has a club, and when she hits, you can hear and feel it. Like with the. Okay. And I feel like the other people like Dazzler, she does like karate chops. It's like that's cool. Mm-hmm. Storm has a club.
I don't remember the club.
Yeah, well, it's I think it's a staff, like a wand or something,
Yeah.
But like she clubs you over, and then when a sentinel or an enemy is down, so like you can hit a button, and like Dazzler just kicks them, kick them when they're down. Storm straight up like tases them, like she'll take the staff and just like electrocute them on the ground.
Oh yeah, she does have a staff. Yeah.
Yeah, and Cyclops is kind of fun, but like the blast just feels like a normal video game projectile, So it's fun.
Blast
and if
isn't
your
great.
Favorite,
yeah.
If those are your favorite characters, I don't want to yuck your yum. It's just kind of like, man, like there's just something so satisfying about playing a Storm. But the weird thing is, like I was telling my brother, even though the widescreen is cool, when you play it widescreen, it feels like a smaller game. It feels like Ninja Turtles. So I think I would only do that if I had like if either I was multiplayer or if I had like a projector, because even on my widescreen TV, when it does the 4:3, the characters look as big as you remember them.
Right.
Yeah. So at least for me, I got highly endorsed. It's a perfect game for me too, because like there's nostalgia, but also as a guy with like not a whole lot of time, like when I have an extra like 30 minutes or something, it's a quick like playthrough and it's pretty fun. Also, I love
and it's nice to not have to throw $30 in quarters every time to beat the damn game.
So that's another fun thing, little like kind of, and not even a cheat because this is a normal feature. When you hit start, it adds quarters.
Yep.
And when you hit select, it takes from the quarters to your lives. So you could just kind of keep toggling back and forth. I had like 200 lives, and then like $400 in quarters in there.
Perfect. That's awesome. Yeah. Hopefully by the time this goes live, we'll have done that, or at the very least, I will have done that.
Yeah.
And I'm JC. And I told Rod before I was going to say this on the episode. I am going to say one of our bonus episodes that is going to come out is going to be an X-Men team draft. If you know anything about podcasts, a lot of podcasts do drafts. I've mentioned the Regulation podcast, formerly known as Fuckface, does their draft content. We will be doing X-Men team drafts, which we will get guest people to be on those with us. So be on the lookout in the future, because I think we could do some really fun, unique, cool scenarios with those. But Cyclops is Waiting for Me is our podcast series. We're going back and watching every single X-Men animated episode that we can find. This podcast started with the original 1992 X-Men, the animated series, which was building up to the release of X-Men 97. And along the way, we completed X-Men Evolution, Wolverine and the X-Men, and we have our companion interviews show, the Xavier Files. Season 2 of X-Men 97 is coming this summer. Until then, we're diving into the Marvel anime called X-Men, which is my first time watching it. Rod's not first time watching it, but Goldfish being what it is. So
pretty much it. And some quick reminders. We're a recap show about a series that started over 15 years ago. There will be spoilers. If you don't want it spoiled for you, pause the podcast, watch the episode, whether that's on DVD or wherever else you can find it, and come back. We're currently not sponsored by or affiliated with Marvel Animation, Disney, or Disney Plus in any way.
And don't forget to follow us on all social media, Cyclops, IWFM Pod, Instagram, Threads, Facebook.
Now on to the show. Today we're going to be talking about Season 1, Episode 8, titled Lost. It aired originally on May 13th, 2011 in Japan under the title Signs. Trying to process that. In the US, it would air on December 9th, 2011. It currently sits at a 6.9 star rating on IMDb. So it's just like slightly. It is pretty much just an extension of the last episode.
I'm pretty sure, and I'll do a quick double check on it, but I think the most common rating for the show is a 6.9 average. Like, I feel like
interesting.
I didn't even have to change the draft because it's just like it was 6.9. And then both of the previous week's recording were also 6.9. So I only had to change one episode this week. So
that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
like I mentioned, let's do a quick look. 6.9, 6.9, 7.1, 6.7, 6.9, 6.9, 6.8, 6.9. Oh, things get better before they get worse. Okay. Well, I'm not going to ruin that for you, Rod.
Okay. Well, this episode, like I mentioned, the end of last episode picks up with Sasaki getting attacked, and it's not like a bait and switch. She really does get attacked. Fortunately, the laws of physics, they adhere to the laws of physics in this universe because Scott and Emma hear the screaming and the attacks from upstairs, despite it being in an underground bunker. And Hisako is down there already. So I guess she figured her way into the underground passage.
She just started looking for stairs. I mean, kids get into shit, right?
And we don't actually see like impact of the creature attacking the doctor, but we do see the hoof, I don't know, or whatever, of the creature like crush her glasses. I don't know, with like the not tentacle, but
no, it's not like a prong. Pincer? I don't Pincer know. Implies there's two.
Yeah.
What the?
I'm also very confused on this creature too. We'll get to it, but like, so Hisako does find the doctor still alive without her glasses, obviously. But then this spider creature finds them. The one that, I guess leg, if it's a spider creature.
So if it's I called it a beetle, which is probably not accurate, but those are called a tarsus. So let's see what a spider's foot is called. It's also called a tarsus. Rod, we learned something today.
Okay. I'm not going to remember that.
An insectoid's foot is called a tarsus.
So Hisako shields Sasaki from, and this is my description, the acid spider machine gun creature. Because didn't it have machine guns on top of it for some reason?
I mean, it was like shooting venom and shit, so yeah.
Well, I saw it shot like the acidic like spiderweb thing, but I thought it had like a row of guns on top of it. Like some... I
think that was just the shape of it. Like it was like it reminded me of like a scorpion tail thing.
Because these anime like battles, they're always like in a dark warehouse, and then the creatures are always like so deep. Like it's almost like the detail of the drawing makes it harder to see, you know. And so I was like, what am I looking at?
Yep. The only thing that really stood out to me from that scene is very specifically Hisako's armor was blue, basically like the entire time, which I think we were
control.
Yeah, we were assuming that blue meant control versus red, which was like raging and stuff like that. So,
and then Logan, Storm, and Beast arrive back at the cabin just in time to overhear the battle.
They walk in and they feel like explosions going off underneath them. And then I put bug fight.
Yeah, big old fight.
No, not big. Bug.
Oh, bug. Yeah, bug old fight.
Bug old fight. That sounds like a slur. We should never say that phrase again. That just, the second you said it with like that little bit of intonation, I was like, I don't know about that one, Ron.
It's the way you said it.
That's how we get canceled, finally. Yeah. Bug ol' fight.
And then Beast says the obvious. He's like, oh, this creature is infected like the others, you know? And so he's like, I need to get like the anti-venom into, or not the antiviral into them. Probably won't be easy. It's kind of funny because what he says in general is true. It wouldn't be easy to get an antiviral into like a big kaiju like that. But Hisako knocked out the creature. Like not Hisako, like the creature is already kind of like still long enough for Beast to talk about it. So it's like, well,
because he pulls on his little visors and sees all the stuff. Yeah. The one bit of trivia I found about this episode, Wolverine assumes that the creature is like the Brood. That was not in the Japanese translation of it. In the original one, that was not mentioned at all. That was definitely like thrown in for the American audience. So
now it kind of makes me think that the Sunfire reference in the last episode was also the writer like, shit, we didn't put any Japanese X-Men in this.
It could have been. I mean, sadly, neither of us speak Japanese, so we're not going to be able to do a fact check against this. So
yeah.
Also, I think the version of the show I have does not have Japanese dub at all, so I'm screwed regardless. So
I have the DVD, and I might have it. So I just got a DVD player from the thrift store, so I might just see if it has like. But also,
the dual tracks.
You can't even like ever depend on the captioning and stuff because, especially with Squid Game, both the captions and the dubs were like off. So I don't know. But yeah, then Hisako knocks out the creature, and it turns into a naked woman who I know you have the name of, but I couldn't remember. Rico?
Rico? Yeah.
Rico, yeah.
It was Rico or Riku? Yeah, Rico. Yeah.
Rico, but it's the man who runs away that has the crazy long name. I think that's the one I couldn't remember.
Sonata.
Oh, was that it? Why did I think it was long? Anyway,
Jan Sonata.
Okay, maybe it was the third one.
Oh no, is no, the one who ran away because he's freaked out was Koichi Kaga. That's who it was.
That one, yeah, that's the name I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
So he runs away.
It's really hard when you don't give a fuck about any of these characters.
Right, the three disposable characters.
Yeah,
but he runs away because he sees like, oh shit, and then it cuts away to Xavier arriving in the X-Jet. While he's approaching, he has flashbacks of his time in Japan and apparently hooking up with Sasaki.
Yeah, where he was going to Japan to find students, meets the teacher, they have like their romance, and she goes back to New York with him, and then it's like, and then she didn't want to stay.
Yeah, and she points out, she's like, well, you have your students, so you have to understand.
Oh, sorry,
why I have mine
she
too.
wouldn't go over to him. She needed to stay and not do the travel. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they parted ways, making no mention of like the kid, but I guess maybe that's another reason she wanted to stay. She's like, I don't want to raise a child with this man.
Yeah, I don't want to raise my child to be the first recruit in his like child army kind of scenario.
Yeah. That's true. She's just she just does human testing. She doesn't.
But then you see like more of the flashback of like, you know, the sad kid Takeo walking away, and yeah, it's just
so.
It was also I love he's like, yep, I'm gonna go off and see Yui and get some answers, and I just put in parentheses, no boundaries.
Yeah, I'll just show up. Feel like it, right?
She literally said, I will tell you when I'm ready to tell you. And you got on a jet immediately following that.
So I think this is one of those like personality traits that in real life tells me what I need to know about a person. Mm-hmm. So for anybody that's watched Shang-Chi, there's a moment where Katie, who's played by Awkwafina, towards the end of the movie where her and Shang-Chi have like a moment alone, and she says something to the effect of like, I always knew there was something, but I didn't want to push, you know? Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking that like, that's a real one, you know, like that's a friend, because they were like lifelong friends, and in their adulthood, she still didn't know this thing about his backstory. And I said that to a person who later ended up dating one of our friends. So I'll tell you off camera who that was, but you might also just know. And she was like, oh no, if it were me, I would just pry and press until I got it. And I was like, you're a terrible person. Or you're not, at least you're not for me. Like, you're not for my orbit, put it that way. And then I told that story to our other friend, to our friend, and his response was like, I need to date her. And I was like, oh my God. Like, anyway, they didn't last. But, so this is like kind of one of those things, like, are you gonna, it's almost like not even like so much a respect of boundaries. It's just like, how did you see that going? You know, like when you got there, like, and also doesn't immediately affect anything materially. You know, like it sounds like everything that had happened, right? As far as your family goes, like if you have a kid and he's gone, and your baby mama doesn't want to tell you about it.
I mean, I get the whole wanting to figure it out, but maybe like the revelation don't do it the same day. So that's
There you go. Just don't wait at least one day until you cross the boundaries. But then we cut back to, apparently they have gotten Rico to like a med bay. Beast is like stabilized her, and he says like I want to take her back to the US so I can do some more testing, but also like keep this antiviral thing on her. And then he notices like other like injection bruises, and
which
like,
I wasn't sure, but those are called track marks when even if it's not for like illicit drug purposes. I did a double check on that one.
Okay. And he was like, oh, these are strange. And then Sazaki's like, once again, is like just answering questions that aren't being asked, you know? She's like, I think she's diabetic. It's like, there's like, okay. I guess, yeah. And he's like, but I don't really know. And Beast was like, you don't know if your lab employee has a health condition? Like, and she's like, I don't really
when
get
you're
into
a doctor who's studying like biology stuff.
Yeah. And also, like, you know, I think a lot of us have diabetic friends and stuff. Like, even this was not overt, like, you're genuinely aware, just out of courtesy, like, you know,
like,
because
any of my friends who I'm like close enough that like we could go out and like hang out or something, they're like, you know what somebody's medical information is, like if we went to like a big party, we're not going to know everything about anybody, but if you're hanging out like one of 4 people with somebody on a regular basis, you know if they have an allergy or like, oh, hey, I might need to stab you with an EpiPen to make sure you don't die type shit, you know? No.
Or have an insulin pump. Like, I think, like, even people I'm not friends with, if I work, with like, you know, 8 lifetimes ago when I had a day job, even people I didn't hang out with outside of work, like, if I was around them 8 hours a day, I knew if they had, like, a medical device on their person.
Yeah. I can see it. I don't care. It's not negative, but you're aware that it's a thing. So,
Or even just a routine. Even if somebody has to, like, inject themselves with insulin or something, like, it's a thing. But, so she plays too dumb, I guess is the whole point of that. And, so Logan and Scott go to Rico's room to check things out, and it's, like, completely destroyed. It's like, you could tell that she had turned into a monster inside the room and then, like, broke out. And I guess they're just inspecting the whole living quarters because they hear like weeping.
Yes.
And they go to another room and it's long name guy.
Kaga.
And he's holding the vials and he was like, we were promised a cure. So now I'm just assuming this is kind of like that trope of X-Men stories, like being cured of being a mutant. They don't overtly say it, I don't think, in this episode.
Yeah, at the very least, it was like helping suppress stuff is the vibe that I think those two were looking for. Is like they had a mutation, they didn't want it to come to fruition, so it was like, help us stop this from happening further.
I hope when mutants come to the MCU, they shelve this story for a while, because I don't know if it's just me. I feel like I see this story in like every iteration of X-Men is like, I get it. It was so impactful the first couple times, and I'm just like, oh, is that okay? It's kind of like Dark Phoenix now. I'm just kind of desensitized to it.
That's fair.
Like, yeah, Jean does.
I'm trying to think when the last time they did that story in the comics was. It's been a while from like a comic rotation, which is a good thing because that means there's lots of other stuff. It's kind of like how Spider-Man always has the problem of when you don't know what to do with Spider-Man, you bring back a big story with either Dr. Octopus, Green Goblin, or Kraven the Hunter. And then when you're really desperate, you do like Venom is now a symbiote god and just piss off everybody. Or at least they killed Paul. Fuck Paul. I hate Paul.
I don't know who Paul is, but
Paul's the most universally hated Marvel character ever.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I did see an interesting theory that this is unfounded, but it's fun to think about. The new Spider-Man movie that's coming out.
I can't make fun of it because I'll be wrong.
Yeah. It's not my theory. I forget where it's on the internet, but the Spider-Man Brand New Day that's coming out, it's a rumor that Sadie Sink is going to be Jean Grey in it. Actually, I think there's like a lot of evidence that she's going to be Jean Grey in it. But the rumor part of it that I think is kind of fun to think about is that she's at her tail end of like a Dark Phoenix run when Spider-Man runs into her.
Okay.
So that they don't have to address the Dark Phoenix in the MCU X-Men. because it's so overdone. It's like, let's see the aftermath of everything, so we don't have to like, because otherwise everybody just knows you're building up to it, and they've already had 2 strikes.
Yeah, but those were Fox.
Yeah, but it's like there's so many stories, and it's like if you go through like the stories that you feel like you have to tell, it's like, but there's so many more interesting ones, you know, like.
I agree with you fully on the like. There's so many interesting stories that haven't been told, but the only thing is like, you don't get Jean, who is the world destroyer in terms of power level, until she goes Dark Phoenix. So like, to get Jean at maximum Jean, you have to have Dark Phoenix pop up in the story.
I also
like, just being possessed by the Phoenix isn't enough. You have to go dark for her to earn it back.
I also don't necessarily, and maybe I'll be wrong because I was wrong about other actors, but I don't necessarily see Sadie Sink as like that dark evil Jean, you know, like Famke Janssen, like the original Jean Grey. Yeah, she was a perfect Dark Phoenix. Like she did dark so well, you know. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. It's just a fun little. We'll see what happens. Like I guess here in a couple months we'll see what happens with Spider-Man.
Look at pictures of Sadie when her hair is straight versus when it's like wavy. Wavy Sadie feels very like sweet, but like that photo right there, which I'm going to send you so you can pop it up on the screen. She looks like she's about to burn a fucking universe down, Rod.
You know, I guess I'll put it this way. I'm so used to seeing like all the Stranger Things cast members. I'm just used to seeing as like we've been conditioned to like perceive them as like 14-year-olds for so long. Maybe that's just what's like locked in my head.
And I have no preconceived notions about her because I didn't watch anything beyond season 1. So
yeah, that's right. And she didn't pop in until like season 2, I think. 2 or 3. I think it was 2. Because the whole thing with the beginning of season 2 is like, who's this Max that has a high score in the arcade? And everybody just assumes it's a boy, and then when they find out it's Sadie Sink, Max, they're like, wait, a girl can have a high score in a video game? That's crazy. Anyway, that's Stranger Things. It was a simpler time in 2017.
I hate it, but it actually was. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Going back to everything about this, I will say, like, Beast is finally starting to like be like, "What the fuck, lady?" Like, just admit something to us right now.
Yeah. Like
he's finally over the bullshit, which is good.
Yeah. And so Logan and Scott ask the boy, like, what is this injection? And
Kaga.
before he can really answer, he starts to turn, and pretty quickly. And that's when you were mentioning Beast confronts Sasaki about the block and the psychic block and the virus and everything. It's like there's so many things like that aren't adding up. And then the doctor pretends to be sick and just leaves.
I also love that there's like he won't say anything bad without like getting permission. Like he's like super submissive to the doctor. And then Wolverine asks about Sonata. And he's like, "Oh yeah, he's not a mutant. He's only been here for like 4 months. He's just really talented."
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out eventually. We don't in this episode. And then the creature.
Then the room blows up.
Yeah. The recently turned creature grabs the doctor, but like in a King Kong and the damsel sort of way, where even Scott points out, it's like, I think he has feelings for her. And everybody's like, ew.
Which good. I'm happy that was the reaction to it, was ew on everything.
Yeah.
But that was the grossest design of anything they've done. And I say that as a compliment because this is supposed to be like, it was like the split muzzle or maw, whatever the proper term of the mouth of like a gator is, and then like a human head in between kind of thing.
Yeah,
I originally thought it was like 2 separate mouths, but it was like they opened together, so it was almost like the face of like a predator. It was like it was like viscerally gross. So
yeah, it's kind of another throwback to Stranger Things. It kind of had a little bit of the Demogorgon vibe, but like much bigger.
Yeah.
But Yeah, and so Hisako tries to attack, but gets knocked out, and then big ol' fight.
Yep. And then it's like Yui just says that's enough, and that's what gets him to stop.
Yeah. And so the creature's knocked out.
It does swallow Logan, though.
Yeah.
It swallows Logan. Scott gets thrown into like the vial room. And then we see how strong this version of Beast is because he basically stops a punch. Which
I must have missed that. I must have been writing notes.
Yeah, you must have looked down because it's literally like basically catching a Superman punch essentially from this thing. Yeah.
I love that.
And then Emma looked a little bit like she does in Marvel Rivals is one of the comments that I put, and then you see like the full team takedown happens. Yeah. And that is where we actually see the reveal from Emma, who doesn't say anything, that Sonata is actually Mastermind in disguise.
Wait, I definitely missed that.
Dude, you missed the most pivotal. You missed the most pivotal part of the episode, which I was trying not to. Rod.
That's so funny. I literally just watched this like 2 hours ago.
I know. That's why I'm like, I'm in utter shock, and it makes me feel better about the notes that I couldn't read from the last episode. Yes, it's a quick flashover where you see that it's Mastermind under Sonata, and she doesn't say anything.
Oh, so now that makes sense, because my note says it was the shapeshifter from the previous episode.
Oh, it is Mastermind,
I mistook Mr. Man. Gotcha. So so this is more of my argument for the last episode. The shapeshifter being introduced in the last episode, super confusing for the story.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you on that one. So
yeah, but then he walks away. Okay, so that line of my note makes a little bit more sense now. And I have to like retract what I said in the last episode because I thought that I didn't know that was Mastermind. I thought that was just the shapeshifter from the previous episode. Yeah, Marsh. Okay, so. All right, well, I only missed the most important thing of the episode.
Of the act of the entire show, yes, probably, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think anything too important story plot-wise happened. Because this was mostly leading up to like a fight, right? And the discovery of like the injection. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's a big, pivotal moment.
Yeah. He also has the track marks on him as, he starts disintegrating down back to his regular form. Yeah,
because Beast is giving him antivirals too, and he points out, it's like, okay, what are they all? Do you only hire diabetic people? Like, what is going on here? And then Scott brings the liquid vials and confronts the doctor about like, what are these?
And she's super freaked out by that.
Yeah, and then
then we jump over to the plane.
So, I don't know if I'm just misreading this situation because I was kind of confused by it. My notes say Xavier arrives. As he's landing, he tries to scan the area, but then a confusing vision happens and a rift opens up and takes the ship, and then it just ends.
Yeah. That's
okay.
Same notes said in different words. Same thing.
Okay.
Yep.
And then I don't know what I was supposed to take away from that. Like, did he go to a different dimension? Was he just psychically going somewhere else?
I put psychic eye trap is the only phrasing that I have that's different than what you had. But yeah, it's the same interpretation. He basically was like arriving. He's trying to do a scan. He's telepathically blocked. Purple flashes that I was not going to frame by frame through. And then he gets pulled into like an opening rift kind of thing. And that's the end of the episode.
Okay, so there we are. That's it. I think that's more of a cliffhanger than the last one because now I literally just don't know what's going to happen.
I know I reference it a lot on here because it is my favorite anime of all time, but it very much reminds me of like one of the things of Evangelion, which is one of the characters getting brought like inside this psychic attack that totally messes with his head, and I want Xavier's head to just get totally effed with in this psychic dimension thing. So. Yeah, I feel like the episode is going to be 50-50. I think it's going to be messing with Xavier's head for half of it and then be screaming at Yui for another 15 minutes.
Now that, unless I'm misunderstanding stuff, which is a high probability since I missed the point of this episode. Now that we're talking about it out loud, this sounds like the son's not dead, and that's who took Xavier.
You don't think it's Mastermind that is doing something?
Maybe both. I don't know. Or is Mastermind the boy? I don't know. Like,
I don't think Mastermind is the boy.
What does the boy have to do with this whole story besides just being like a fridge situation, right?
I mean, the point that goes in favor of your argument is that all the visions Xavier sees, he doesn't see the details. Was he trying to read Yui's mind from across the globe, and that's why he can't see the face? But it's always like the red coloration in it.
Yeah.
I think that's actually a really good theory for us for me not knowing at all what is happening, and then whatever's going on with your weird memory block,
At this point, I don't remember anything.
You have the same memory as Hisako for going to the school, essentially, at this point. So.
Well, actually, we pointed this out in the very first episode of this anime recap part, but like the last time I watched it, it was literally so me and my friend could like drink Coronas and watch this. So like I was like, especially in the later episodes, functionally drunk, right? If we've been polishing off like 6 packs of Coronas and we got to the like we're in the 8th episode now, we're 8 episodes into like drink. Like I'm not surprised I don't remember this part.
And I want to say, from my beer drinking days, which now I'm mostly just a vodka person, but from my beer drinking days, I want to say I remember less from the Corona nights than I do from other like vodka nights.
Yeah, I actually,
but not Jaeger nights. Jaeger nights, oof, those don't exist in my memory. Those whatever brain cells those were attached to have been burnt to shit. So
those stop within like a couple years of starting. Like that was not an extended era, like at all. That was
you didn't live near New York.
Well, I think so. The thing is, like one of my roommates, his girlfriend was a Jaeger girl, so we got so much, and and it was just it kind of tasted gross to me too. And it was always you always got it in the grossest ways, right? Like,
it was always gross. Yeah.
But you would get it like in a luge, I remember she brought home like this contraption once they made to like shoot it, but it was like cheap plastic, so it always tasted a little bit of like plastic in it and stuff. There was like no normal way to drink it, like, or it was in like some sort of like drop shot, right, where you drop the shot glass into like a glass of beer.
I mean that's the Italians from the Northeast tradition. Yeah, it was a Jaeger bomb.
Like, yeah, the Jaeger bomb is like, let's make it the most disgusting thing to have to chug like right now. It's like a lot of like heavy beer. And then we're going to drop this disgusting other alcohol into it and in a dirty glass. And like,
so, the only time I've ever felt my heart beating while conscious, like, we went out in New York City. This had to be, 14 years ago now, 15 years ago. I was still living on the East Coast. And we went out in Manhattan. We got there at like 9:45, 10 o'clock at night. And for those who don't know, you could buy drinks until 3:30 in the morning easily in Manhattan, and basically any bar that's open. Every single bar we went to, you did a Jaeger bomb. And at 3:15 in the morning, we were at the Tropicana in Times Square, and I literally just am standing by the bar.
Yeah.
I'm like, I should stop drinking these right now.
Right. And I'm sure were you using the Red Bulls at the time too?
Well, it was the Jaeger bomb into the Red Bull, so it was a half a Red Bull plus a shot of Jaeger every single one. Jesus. The only reason that was a saving grace, though, despite the long-term damage I've probably done to my heart, is we got back to Grand Central Station, and we got there at like 5 in the morning, and Grand Central doesn't reopen until 6 in the morning. There's like 2 hours where they shut it down and are cleaning and stuff. And I was the only one who was so wired because of all the Red Bull. I didn't need to I wasn't like passing out or getting tired or anything like that. And other people are like sitting on the ground where people have definitely peed and stuff like that. And I am just like fucking doing laps up and down the street because I'm so much energy. And then when we finally get on the train, I find a 3-seat row and I just passed out and I woke up in New Haven.
I thought you were going to say you ran home.
No, New York to New Haven. No. I would die.
I kind of a similar story to that. I was like years ago, probably 15, maybe 20 years ago. I was in a songwriting camp, actually out in LA, but I didn't live here. I was on the East Coast. And I came out to LA for a songwriting camp, and it was sponsored by, I don't think it was Red Bull, but it was one of the energy, I think it was Monster.
Okay.
And
I was going to say Monster or Amp were like the big ones at that point with Red Bull, yeah.
There wasn't a lot of water available, but we had unlimited Monster or whatever energy drink it was. But then they also were like debuting a gum, which was quickly discontinued because like the gum had as much caffeine and taurine in it as like, the drinks, but you just like chew it. Was that Monster?
I think it was Amp. I think it was Amp.
Maybe it was Amp then.
Yeah.
And so the idea was novel. It was like, oh, you gotta, because writing camps they can go for like a long time. You know, like
Amp gum.
I was okay. See, I don't remember what they looked like because I was wired, but
I mean they
sure, yeah.
Okay, did they make Monster gum? Now I have to check. But yeah.
So like it made sense. Like, oh, you'd have all these energy drinks and stuff, and then you can keep writing and keep recording.
They did make it.
It was very short lived. Whatever we had was very short lived because I think they discovered it was really bad for people's health. And so after that writing camp, I was on tour at that time.
It was Amp, yeah.
Okay. I was on tour at that time. And so I left that songwriting camp having not slept in like 4 days, I think, because I was just wired from all the drinking more energy drinks than like water and that gum and everything. And I had a tour stop in Illinois, and I was with a group of college kids, and that was I can't remember which Nolan Batman movie, but one of the Nolan Batman movies came out. Right. And it had to have been after I had graduated college. So it was sometime after 2005 or 6, whatever Nolan Batman movie came out. And I just remember being in the car with these college kids, and I was just like, I was going like 100 miles an hour, and it's like, let's go see this movie, blah, blah. And I don't remember seeing the movie because they said, Rod, you were just like on, and then before we made it to the theater, you were just out. And I woke up in like one of their dorms on their bed, and I was like, oh my God, like how many hours I've been out? And like, dude, you've been sleeping for like a day and a half. Like it's like, it's been like 14, 15 hours or something. Like we were worried about you. And I was like, what?
We were worried, but not enough to take you to a hospital.
Well, they also didn't want to like have this dead old guy, right? Like, well, I wasn't that old at that point, but I was older than college students, right? So like, but I understand that like crashing from all the energy stuff. That's crazy. But anyway, so
that was a good way to fill out the rest of the episode.
Right, that was this episode.
What's funny is I liked this episode a lot more than the previous one, but I had a lot less to say about it. I think because it was just like, yeah, there was a bug fight. There was a second big fight. They were good. Yeah,
a lot less happened.
Sorry, the Marvel Rivals comment that I wrote down. Now I remember it. Okay. In Marvel Rivals, when Emma turns into Diamond form, she does like a roundhouse kick that you could only do in Diamond form, which like smashes the shit out of somebody. If they hit a wall, it does like extra damage. In particular, there was a roundhouse kick with how she fought in this episode that reminded me of Rivals. That's what it was.
Nice. I wonder if they were inspired by,
Well, this is the second time where there's been something that reminded me of Rivals, because I think I mentioned to you the design of the Dark Phoenix outfit in Rivals is very similar to how Jean's default outfit is in this show. Oh, we're getting cat tax.
Hey, everybody. This is why you tune into the video version.
Rod, what you need to do is turn this into one of the Instagram trial reels, because we'll get a lot more followers by showcasing the cat rather than just you and I.
This is the content. It's just Lucy.
Yep.
Hey.
Yeah. No, we don't talk about X-Men. We just talk about the black cat.
This is Lucy. All right, trial reels. Do your thing. Okay, well, on that note, thanks for joining us.
Side note, real quick on the trials thing. Have you noticed that there's certain people who are making reels that are just specifically for trials, and they start out with, you're not following me, but the algorithm wants you to, and then they show their video at like 1.25 speed to fit the original reel with the intro in front of it.
I haven't seen that. I do have friends that have strategies on those trial reels, which are really interesting. Oh, I don't have that much in me.
You just have to make 2 reels for this episode, and one features Lucy. That's all. So
yeah, no, that was just it. That was just Lucy blankly staring at the camera because I woke her up.
Yep.